Welcome back to Dakota News Now. Today is Thursday, and that means it is time to throw it back for another Throwback Thursday.
Joining us today is the iconic Lori Kent with Local Loop Podcast. It's great to see you again after my short little break there.
I'm so excited our history club is back together.
Yes.
The
We missed
founding
some
members
great
are all here.
Yes. What are we learning about today?
Well, I wanted to look at the historical marker for Josiah Phillips, which is located on Phillips Avenue in downtown Sioux Falls. And it talks about one of our founding fathers of Sioux Falls. But for a founding father, he sure wasn't here very long, so I kind of wanted to dive into a little bit of his history. So Josiah Phillips was born in 1835 in Maine. His father was a doctor, and so he becomes a doctor. He goes to medical school and graduates in Chicago when he's 21, and then he moves to Dubuque, Iowa. And then it was time to kind of manifest some destiny. So he joins the Western Town Company and he heads out west, an area that at that time was Minnesota Territory, which became Dakota Territory, and a specific little area that would become Sioux Falls. And since he's like one of the first land companies here, he gets a bunch of really primo real estate. He gets a big chunk of our downtown, what's going to be our downtown. And so in 1856, he starts a little town here with a bunch of other guys, a handful of other people. They're trying to make Sioux Falls happen. And they try for a few years, but this Civil War breaks out. And so he actually heads back to Dubuque, Iowa in 1861 to join the Union Army. And he's going to be a surgeon for the Army, which I think is probably like the top job I don't want in the Civil War, because it's a lot of things I don't want to do. Yeah. And so that's what he's going to spend the war doing. He actually is part of Sherman's March to the Sea, which is a big deal. After the Civil War is over, he gets married in 1867. And in Sioux Falls at the time, what's happening is we had a Fort Dakota. And that ends up closing up around 1869. And that's when Josiah's like, let's go to Sioux Falls. Let's go back there. Let's really make it happen this time. And he gets one of the old buildings from the fort, and that's where they're going to live. And he comes out first. He's a good husband. He makes it nice. And then he has his wife and child come, and he ends up spending the rest of his life here. It just isn't a very long time. So he ends up platting land, and it just happens to be really good land. So he plats from Minnesota Avenue to Phillips Avenue in 6th to 9th Street, which is like primo downtown Sioux Falls real estate. And it's going to make him a very rich man. But money doesn't buy you time. And Josiah's time is up. In 1882, he dies suddenly at the age of 47. Like, he gets sick, he dies like the next day. And so that's the end of Josiah's story. He got to do the hard stuff and really do the founding of Sioux Falls, but really didn't get to see it become the city that it was going to become. But he has tons of namesakes. We have the diner, we have Phillips Avenue, we have a hotel, and then if you love a good downtown cafe, there's Josiah's, which is right off Phillips Avenue. Good. It's delicious. And they also have a lot of history there. They have a couple of pictures of the Phillips family, along with a little bit of like historical biographies on them, and a great caramel roll. So, you know,
yes, I've had the caramel thing.
It's pretty good.
So his wife and child were able to live out their days here in Sioux Falls.
They were, yes. And his family was quite big by the time he died.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you for coming in this morning. Always a pleasure on Thursdays.
Oh, thanks, guys.
And we'll be right back after the break.